It's happening. It's happening. Look at us. Look at us doing our thing. Right? Yeah. You know. I'm a little early. I'm a little early because I have to end early. What's up, Jesus? Good to see ya. Good morning. Hope you're well. Hope everything is amazing in your world. Absolutely amazing in your world. That's what I hope for. Yeah. That's a good hope, right? Hope everything is well. What's up, Balthazar? Balthazar, you were disappointed with Tulsi's performance. I was disappointed with one or two things, but overall, I thought she did pretty good. I knew they were going to give her the least amount of talking time they could. I knew they were going to have at least one gotcha question. So I kind of, it was mostly what I expected. I thought she handled it overall well, but I was disappointed with a couple things. The not wanting to get rid of private medical insurance thing. Yeah, I rewatched that segment. Now, what some folks are saying, and I agree with, the way it was worded was kind of misleading and a little bit off, and people are speculating that's why she didn't raise her hand. I can understand that. I think she still should have, so I was disappointed by that too. It wasn't a deal-breaker moment for me at all, but I thought it wasn't the best, it wasn't the best judgment call, I didn't think, on her part. And I can see how some people say, no, she did the right thing. I understand that. I think still, as far as optics go, she should have raised her hand. What's up, Angela? You are here for a live show. What's up, Jennifer? Good to see everybody. And everybody play nice. Everybody play nice. I know for a fact Balthazar is not a bot because I met him in person. Yeah, it's cool to have a discussion. And Hunesta, I thought overall Tulsi did very well. I kind of knew they were gonna. She was the only person that got a gotcha question. I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's hard to remember a full 2-hour debate off the top of my head, but I think she was the only candidate that got a gotcha question. And I'm not surprised. And I thought she was prepared for that gotcha question. She handled it very well. What's up, Zach? Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron. We haven't officially begun yet. We kick in once there are 30 folks here. In the meantime, I'm just greeting everybody. I'm just wishing everybody a happy morning or afternoon or evening, whatever it is. Zach, I agree with you. De Blasio did actually do kind of okay. I don't really take him all that seriously. But I was surprised that he had some good moments. Julian Castro had some good moments. I don't know a ton about that guy, to tell you the truth, but he had some pretty good moments in that debate. Jay Inslee, both of them had some good moments in their lane. Julian Castro had some good comments. Jay Inslee had some good comments, but it was mostly about one issue. I mean, in Julian Castro's case, he was really strong on immigration. Jay Inslee really strong on climate change. And then for the rest of the issues, they kind of left. It was kind of just a little, not empty, but a little light, So that was my take on it anyway. Let's see. Jennifer says she's used to gotcha questions, referring to Tulsi. That's true. Citrus says, smash that like button like John Bolton giving you mustache grooming advice. Please do. Thank you for that, Citrus. I appreciate that. And yeah, please do like this video. I appreciate that very much. Aloha and peace, says Free Julian Assange. And a hashtag BDS reminder. Let's see what else you guys saying. Hello, Charles. How are you? And I hope some of y'all were able to catch my my debriefing last night. I did a debriefing last night. And I have a couple quick announcements once we officially kick in. I'll wait until the show has officially begun to make some... Oh, and we are at 31. What's up? Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. I am Ron Placone, your host. What does that mean? That means you guys send me articles. You tweet them at me. You drop them in our Reddit subsection, which is just reddit.com/r/GetYourNewsOnWithRon. And that's how we build the show. I'm seeing everything for the first time. We're just getting our news on together. The debates happen. We talked about it. Oh, by the way, quick announcement. Tomorrow, I'm going to have an interview with Shahid Buttar on this show. Shahid Buttar is running against Nancy Pelosi up in the San Francisco area. We're going to be talking with him on the show. Also, according to his people, he is really big on net neutrality, which I knew that about him, so we have that in common. Something I didn't know about him that they told me, apparently we're both big music people. Apparently he's a big music fan, so we're going to talk about this. And if any of his music tastes are not in line with mine, I'm going to end the interview. No, I'm just kidding. Of course I'm kidding. But yeah, we are... Shahid Buttar is going to be on this show tomorrow at 9:30 Pacific time, 12:30 Eastern time. I did it fucking backwards. You're supposed to say Eastern time first. I fucked it up. I live in Pacific time. What are you going to do? 12:30 p.m. Eastern time, 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Shahid Buttar is going to be on the show for an interview. So check that out. He's a progressive trying to primary Nancy Pelosi. It should be fun. Hang on, I gotta read something here. Somebody said, where'd it go? Jennifer, Beto can't answer what color tie he wears. I agree. I thought Beto actually did the worst. I know some of y'all were here last night for our debriefing after the debate ended. I thought that Tulsi did the best, which I was expecting. I thought Beto did the absolute worst. I thought he was even worse than John Delaney. You guys know how not of a fan of John Delaney I am. I am so not a fan of John Delaney. He might as well be a Republican, but so should Beto. But John Delaney actually had one okay moment in that debate last night, and it was when Rachel Maddow started talking about Trump-Russia, which, you know, she was just champing at the bits to bring up Trump-Russia. It was probably the only thing she was waiting for, the only reason she wanted to be there. And John Delaney actually, to his credit, and believe me, I was as shocked as anyone else. Somebody said that, Zach, John Delaney is garbage. I completely agree. John Delaney is terrible. But he had one okay moment where I got to hand it to him. He had an okay moment when Rachel Maddow was like, Russia, Russia, Russia. John Delaney actually said, you know what? That's not what a lot of people are concerned about. They're concerned about healthcare. They're concerned about jobs. They're concerned about... college, sending their kids to college, being able to afford college. To his credit, he actually did a good job there, I thought. The only kind of, and that's the only reason he's not last, is because Beto had zero redeeming moments. Absolutely zero. Beto was a parody of a politician. And as Evan points out, his name's Robert. But anyway, so I think Beto was actually even worse than John Delaney. They were both completely terrible. John Delaney had one slightly redeemable moment compared to Beto's zero. So let's get into a couple things. Here. Here is what some polls are saying. And this is actually from MSN, of all places. Tulsi Gabbard and Cory Booker emerged as winners of the first Democratic debate, and this is according to Google Trends. All right, so on Wednesday night, yeah, we had a debate. All right, so here's this graph here. Here is the interest over time. This is Google Trends. Okay, so the green is Tulsi Gabbard, yellow is Julian Castro, red is Beto O'Rourke. Look at Beto. Look at Beto. It didn't change at all for him. It barely changed at all. Now look at Tulsi. Look at that. Look at Tulsi. Elizabeth Warren, a little bit. Elizabeth Warren had some okay. Cory Booker. Now, I don't know why. I don't know I don't know why Cory Booker got that. I didn't think he did. He did better than I expected him to. My bar was incredibly low, but Cory Booker actually did a little better than I expected him to. He spoke out for Medicare for All, which I was surprised by. He spoke against Big Pharma. Now, this, of course, was after he did their bidding. Keep in mind, Cory Booker stabbed a drug bill that would have given us cheaper drugs from Canada. He stabbed that in the back to do the bidding of Big Pharma and screw over Bernie and all of us, by the way. And then after he did that, he's like, I'm not going to take Big Pharma money anymore. Well, okay, buddy, you just did their bidding. You're not going to take their money now? Okay. So, take anything Cory Booker says with a huge grain of salt. But as far as the debate went, he did a little better than I thought he would. I didn't think he did particularly great. And he talks so annoying. Cory Booker talks like somebody who is in a drama class and they are trying too hard and it is annoying everybody around them. So annoying when that guy talks. So fucking annoying. All right, so let's look at this. Who had the most speaking time? Now, if you watched my debriefing last night, I thought that if I had to guess, I was going to say Tulsi had the least because they did not call on Tulsi much at all, and that Elizabeth Warren had the most. I was actually wrong there. Elizabeth Warren did not have the most. Here's who actually had the most. Let's check this out. Booker had the most. That might be why his Google search was increased so much. Just kind of speaking time. Beto O'Rourke second most. Warren had the third most. So I was off on that. We're talking just a matter of minutes here, but Klobuchar, Castro, Ryan, Gabbard. So Delaney actually talked as much as Tulsi Gabbard. I would not have guessed that. I would have guessed that Delaney talked a bunch more. Now, part of that could be because every time Delaney was talking, I was cringing. Except for that one mildly redeemable moment he had where I was like, oh, okay, he didn't completely shit the bed on that one. But John Delaney was terrible. John Delaney was a Republican. All of his points were just right-wing talking points against Medicare for All, against jobs. I mean, his solution was just let the corporations do their thing. He was absolutely terrible on everything. Except for that one small redeemable moment, which gave him one small redeemable moment more than Beto O'Rourke, who could not answer a direct question at all. Beto O'Rourke, every time Beto O'Rourke was asked a question, the moderators, who, by the way, were playing softball to begin with, but even they couldn't play softball with Beto O'Rourke. Even Chuck Todd called out Beto O'Rourke for being full of shit at one point. Chuck frickin' Todd. But anyway, so let's get back to the graph here. So it turns out Inslee actually had the least amount of speaking time. So I would not have guessed that. I actually thought it would have been Tulsi, but Inslee had the least amount of speaking time. Which I guess now that I think about it, almost every time he spoke, he pretty much had to interrupt something. Like, he did not get a lot of speaking time. But, all right, so let's go here now. So here is what to watch for tonight's debate. Now, this is according to NBC News. Now, first of all, we're going to see their summary of last night, which is interesting. Let's take a look at the author here. Chuck Todd, Mark Murray, and Ben Kemisar. Now, the reason there are 3 authors on this is because Chuck Todd is not able to write an article by himself. He is, and I know I went off on this last night, but I'm sorry. I don't like to take shots at people's intelligence. I really don't. But how does anyone watch Chuck Todd and not think, this guy is fucking dumb? I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know how else to put it. I don't know how anyone can put it differently. Like, this guy, it's unbelievable he has this job. It's, and like I said this last night. I'm sorry if you were here last night and I'm repeating myself. It's hilarious. It's fucking hilarious. This guy is considered a newsman. Only in our media structure could that be possible. It would not happen in any other media structure other than ones that are just as corrupt as ours. Which are, by the way, hard to find. They're out there. It's hard to fucking find, though. In a democratic experiment, it's pretty much impossible to find. But only in a media as shitty as ours could someone like Chuck Todd, Chuck Todd is an actor. He's not a news person. He is an actor who plays a news person. and he does a mediocre job at it. He's an actor that would not get a callback for a second audition, who, for whatever reason, has this job. For some reason, he has this job. So anyway, let's see what he's projecting for tonight. 1 down, 1 to go is what the article says here. All right, so here's their summary. In last night's first Democratic presidential debate, we saw Elizabeth Warren emerge unscathed by her rivals. Gee, it's almost like they're subtly communicating what their goal was. Elizabeth Warren emerged unscathed by her rivals. Julian Castro made the most of his appearance. Beto O'Rourke, Amy Klobuchar, and Cory Booker failed to own a real moment, and Bill de Blasio make his presence felt. Okay. According to them, that's all that happened. Funny how they don't mention Tulsi Gabbard schooling Tim Ryan, just owning on Tim. Which, by the way, Tim Ryan's done. Tim Ryan is done. He should drop out right now. He'll probably wait a little bit, so it's not painfully obvious that he's just like, I humiliated myself, I'm done. But Tim Ryan's done. But anyway, that's their shitty summary of last night. So let's get into what they're going to say we should expect for tonight. Okay, Biden versus Bernie. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. The Democratic frontrunner, Joe Biden, frontrunner by what standards, again? Landline polls and just name recognition, versus the man who's been in second or third in the polling, Bernie Sanders. And it's easily the party's central ideological fight, Obama-era pragmatism versus Sanders' democratic socialism. May I remind you, there's nothing pragmatic about an incremental solution to a catastrophic problem. There's nothing pragmatic about an incremental solution to a catastrophic problem. Boom. All right. Harris versus Buttigieg. The night, too, also features Kamala Harris and then Pete Buttigieg, who failed completely at his own town hall and should drop out of the race, as should Kamala Harris, who California sees right through. Can anyone else break through? Let's see here. All right, so we got Michael Bennet, Kristen Gillibrand, Eric Swalwell, Governor John Hickenlooper. He took a night off of watching porn with his mom. Andrew Yang and Marianne Williamson. I think Marianne Williamson is going to have a couple okay moments. I was disappointed with her appearance on the Jimmy Dore show overall. I was kind of surprised to hear her not support Medicare for all. But you know, hopefully she's evolved on that. And I do expect a couple good moments from her. She is good on some other things. Let's see. How long will the coverage of Night 2 last? The downside for last night contenders and upside for those who didn't have a great showing is that the shelf life was always going to be 24 hours given the second debate. That's not the case tonight. And it's possible that a stronger week moment could play into next week. Hey, America, we love to have our political elections operate like a horse race. Deal with it, because we don't give a shit. That's basically what they're saying. They're like, yeah, whatever, it'll last longer, because we'll be able to milk it for longer. Which, by the way, you know that these events are the corporate media's last-ditch attempt at relevancy. These moments, these are their Super Bowl moments. How often do you meet people where they're like, the only reason I still have my cable TV is because I want to be able to watch a sporting event, or I want to be able to watch a certain series that's just easier to get. This is their moment to have that in the, quote, news sphere. They want to be like, we have these debates. Don't you want to watch them? Watch them here. We're streaming them. They're ours. It's their last-ditch attempt at relevancy. That's why they were cracking down on anybody who was commentating on it in real time, people who were streaming it and commentating on it, which, by the way, for news and information, should fall into fair use. You're using it for the sake of criticism. That should fall under fair use. But anyway, we're going to switch gears now. So the next debate is tonight. There will be Bernie Sanders. There will be Joe Biden. I have a feeling that's going to kind of be the showdown. But switching gears, there's some news from the Supreme Court. And it's not good, but there's a little bit of good and then a lot of bit of bad. So let's go into what's going on with the Supreme Court as of today. All right, Supreme Court blocks census citizenship question. Well, that's good, but that's not the only thing that's going on. All right, so the Supreme Court is forbidding President Donald Trump's administration from adding a citizenship question to the 2020 census for now. The court says the Trump administration's explanation for wanting to add the question was more of a distraction than an explanation. The court ruled 5-4 on Thursday, with Chief Justice John Roberts joining the 4 liberals in the relevant part of the outcome. All right. So a lower court found the administration violated federal law in the way it tried to add a question broadly asking about citizenship for the first time since 1950. Okay, so that's cool. That's a good thing. Here's the bad news, though. Here is the bad news. The Supreme Court says federal courts have no role to play in policing political districts drawn for partisan gain. The decision could embolden political line drawing for partisan gain when state lawmakers undertake the next round of redistricting following the 2020 consensus. The justices said by a 5-4 vote Thursday that claims of partisan gerrymandering do not belong in the federal court. The court's conservative Republican-appointed majority says that voters and elected officials should be arbiters of what is a political dispute. Okay, you want that translated? I will translate it for you. Gerrymandering. We don't give a shit. That's what they're saying. Gerrymandering, we do not care. We don't care at all. Gerrymandering, tough shit. You don't like gerrymandering? We don't care. That's exactly what they're saying. So, and they're saying that it's up to elected officials and voters. Well, how do voters get to have a say in that? The gerrymandering is done largely by Republicans behind closed doors. So where do voters get a voice in that? So this is basically code for the court is okay with gerrymandering. They want it to continue. Which it'd be amazing if we just had a Supreme Court that wasn't just used for, that wasn't just a political football. It'd be amazing if we had a Supreme Court that was exactly that, just a court that was upholding the law. But instead, we use it as a political football. And instead, we try to get these hyper-partisan judges, and mostly on the right, mostly hyper-partisan on the right, to kind of just uphold the agenda of the establishment right. So this is just another exemplification of that. They're saying, well, gerrymandering, we're washing our hands of it. Well, why? Because the court is more conservative. So gerrymandering generally benefits conservatives or Republicans. So they're washing their hands of it. So there you go. Supreme Court. Gerrymandering, not their problem. All right. Moving on. Here's something. We always, we talk about municipal broadband a lot on this show. And what is municipal broadband? For the quick crash course, municipal broadband takes the internet out of big cable's hands, put it into the hands of cities and municipalities. I'm trying to get this done in Pasadena, where I live. It's been a very long climb, but I'm working on it. And it basically preserves net neutrality, because net neutrality will be written into charters, and net neutrality will be guaranteed for cities and residents. Cities that already have municipal broadband experience the best internet in the country at a reasonable price. Ask anybody in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So, but big cable doesn't want this. Comcast, Verizon, AT&T, they don't want this. They want to continue to have an organized duopoly on internet access in the United States, and they really want a post-net neutrality world where they can price gouge the internet further by making it look like cable television 2.0. You have to pay extra money for certain packages. You have to pay certain feeds for your content to upload. A post-net neutrality world would crush independent media. It would crush shows like this, and it would make the internet look completely different from how you recognize it now, in a very negative way. And it would price gouge you, the consumer, and me, the consumer, and everyone else. So, here's a story from the Electronic Frontier Foundation, where the FCC decided to side with landlords and Comcast over the tenants who wanted broadband choices. I'm not sure how landlords are involved in this, but let's find out. Let's check out this article. The FCC is siding with landlords and Comcast over tenants who want broadband choices. In December of 2016, the city of San Francisco boldly enacted the occupants' right to choose communication services providers. This ordinance, known as Article 52, and that hinders a payola scheme cooked up between big cable companies like Comcast and Landlords. And just a few short years since its enactment, a great number of apartments in San Francisco have had at least 4 options for broadband service, including affordable gigabit fiber service. Fearing that other cities would follow suit, a whole range of associations and corporations that represent landlords in the cable industry pushed the FCC hard to block these local efforts. For a federal agency tasked with promoting competition, it shouldn't be a close call to simply ignore these groups. But that is not what the FCC plans to do next month. So the FCC is poised to act on a fiction drummed up by landlords and Comcast rather than the facts of what happened in San Francisco. So based on the FCC's record, the problem the FCC seems to want to fix is in-use wire sharing on the grounds that it disrupts cable service. This is despite San Francisco explaining to the FCC how the ordinance functions, including the fact that landlords can refuse on the grounds of disruption of existing services. So what the FCC wants to stop this. The FCC wants to stop this choice for broadband services as enacted by the city of San Francisco. The way they're saying that they want to stop it is disrupting existing services. They're basically saying, oh, all these cables, it's disrupting shit. Meanwhile, there's already policy intact that says, no, it can't disrupt anything. The competition has to not disrupt existing infrastructure, meaning you can't just build over top of something else and interfere with someone's existing infrastructure. That would just cause a mess. There's already policy in place that says you can't do that. The FCC is saying, well, we're worried it's going to happen, so fuck you and fuck your choice. Because what we're trying to do here is we're trying to do the bidding of Comcast, and we're trying to do the bidding of big cable and not the bidding of people. You see how the FCC is actually squashing, quote, competition? You see how when anybody utters the anti-net neutrality argument saying they're against net neutrality because it would stifle competition, you see how that's bullshit? You see how that's bullshit now? Because municipal internet preserves net neutrality, and here's the way the FCC is squashing that competition. You see how this is actually anti-competitive action in honor of big cable, and that's what the FCC is doing. So whenever someone says, oh, the FCC is preserving choice, that's what they're trying to do. No, they're doing the opposite. There's nothing, quote, competitive about this. It is quite the opposite. So there you go. People in San Francisco fighting for more choices in cable. The city of San Francisco pushing back upon that. So we're going to stay in California for a minute here. Or the FCC, rather, pushing back upon that. We're going to stay in California here for a little bit. And we're going to go to Los Angeles. This is kind of a bummer story. I'm a little bit bummed out about this, but I'm really hoping that it relocates. You guys know that I'm a big music fan. I'm a really big music guy. I love music. And a place that I've seen some really good in-stores is Amoeba Music. It's right in Hollywood. It's a really cool store. Parking's a pain in the ass. It's really tough to get to. But I've seen some really good music, which brings me to today's song of the day. The song of the day, Kids in America by the Muffs. I don't think it's originally a Muffs tune, but the Muffs do a really fun version of it. It's been a song I've enjoyed for years. I also like the Muffs a lot. They're a fun band. Their version of Kids in America is pretty cool. I'm pretty sure they're covering it, but whatever. If it's not, somebody correct me. So the Muffs, Kids in America, the song for the day. And the reason it's by the Muffs did an in-store in Amoeba, and it was the first in-store I really wanted to go to that I missed. I saw some cool stuff in Amoeba. I got to see Fred Armisen DJ once, which when I met Fred Armisen, I brought that up, and it was 2 years after the fact. And he probably thought, this is the dorkiest thing anyone's ever said to me. And I'm sure he's heard a lot of geeky things, Fred Armisen has. But when I met him, I was just like, dude, your set at Amoeba was killer. And then I realized, I was like, that was like 2.5 years ago. He probably barely remembers doing it. And I'm like, dude, man, you spun some great tune. You had some Dinosaur Jr. So anyway, the reason I'm talking about Amoeba right now is because a little bit of bummer news here. They're going to be moving. Amoeba Music to relocate after demolition, but plans to acquire a dispensary license. All right, so here's what's going on. Popular music store Amoeba Music will be demolished and replaced with an apartment complex. Man, ain't that always the story? You take paradise and you put up a parking lot. Don't you know when things are gone, but you don't know what you got till it's gone. You take a cool music store and you put up a fucking apartment complex. Bums me out. All right, so according to the LA Times, Los Angeles City Council voted Tuesday to approve the zoning. So they're going to get an apartment complex where Amoeba once has. So here's what Jim Henderson, who I guess is the owner of Amoeba, is saying here. Amoeba has every intention of remaining in LA. Rest assured, we are not closing, but we are now in a position where we may have to change locations in the coming years. Well, yeah, I mean, if they're going to demolish the building, that's for sure going to happen. And they want to get a dispensary license. Okay, all right, so there's a little bit of positive news here. Alongside the move, Amoeba has announced plans to acquire a dispensary license at the new location, wherever that may be. In 2018, Amoeba's Berkeley location opened High Fidelity, the company's first marijuana dispensary. Now, I gotta say, I really love that name. High Fidelity. Not only high, I get it, there's the pun, but also fantastic movie and book. I should have said book first, actually, about music and about romance and about love. High frickin' Fidelity. If you have not seen the movie High Fidelity, see it, and I recommend reading the book too. The book is even better, in my opinion. It's by Nick Hornby. He also wrote about a boy, another really cool book. A lot of his books focus around music and romance and fun and stuff. He's great. But anyway, High Fidelity. I used to read High Fidelity whenever I would have a breakup. That was my thing, because it's about a breakup. Dude has a breakup, and then he talks about music a lot because he runs a record store. And I would read that book whenever I would have a breakup, and I would watch the movie whenever I would have a breakup. I started doing that, I guess, in high school. Because I can't remember if I read the book first or saw the movie first. It's not really important. But High Fidelity. If you're going through a breakup, High Fidelity. Read it, watch the movie, whatever you got to do. I recommend High Fidelity. It is the breakup movie. Yeah. Anyway, so the addition of marijuana sales was reported by the Times to diversify profit streams in the music retail landscape that has been on a steady decline since the rise of downloadable digital files in the late 1990s. Now, will getting high increase your purchases of music? That's the million-dollar question. I don't know. I don't think I've ever gone record shopping stoned. I'm not against it. I just don't think it happened. Maybe it has. I don't think it has. But I don't know if that would make me buy more or buy less. It might make me buy more. It might be like, yeah, I should have this. Or it might make me buy less because maybe I'm holding something and I'm like, everyone's judging me. Everybody is judging my musical taste right now. Everyone's judging my music taste. Everybody. I went into this record store to get the new Springsteen record for my dad for Father's Day. And the shopkeep actually said to me, because he didn't have the record, he's like, I haven't gotten it yet. Because it had just come out the night before. So the dude didn't have it in his store. And he's like, I haven't gotten it yet, but I heard it's not all that good. Now, honestly, I'm not that into the new Springsteen record either. I didn't really like it that much. But I thought, it'd be cool. My dad might like to give it a chance, right? So I thought I'd get it for him for Father's Day. And I was like, well, it's actually not for me. It's for my dad. I actually did go out of my way to mention that. I was like, I don't know if he's going to like it or not, but I thought I'd let him decide on his own, get it for him for Father's Day. I ended up finding a live Springsteen album from '85. It was a live cut of some tracks. I got that for my dad instead. My dad would like that a lot better than the new record, I'm pretty sure. So anyway. So, yeah, I don't know if I would buy more or less. That's the million-dollar question. So Amoeba Music, I love that location. I love that store. It's going to be leaving, which really bums me out. But hopefully it finds a cool relocation, and the new location is even cooler than the last one. All right, so there's that. Let's see what else we have to talk about today, because there is a lot of stuff. All right. Let's see here. So, guys, This is going to be our last story for today, and then we're going to chat it up. Sometimes you know that I occasionally just like to geek about something in science that I'm learning. And that's how we're going to end the show today. You guys know we cover a lot of the climate change stories here. We hear some different perspectives. Some are saying we have 5 years left. Some are saying, hey, 12 years, then we're going to reach the point of no return. Some are saying we have to just focus on adaptation. We're going to be able to adapt. We just have to focus on it, and in the meantime, actually do something. Everybody's saying we have to do something, by the way. For people that are like, well, there's not complete consensus in that. Oh, of course there's not. Science is based on evidence and exploration and hypotheses and tests and experiments. Of course it's going to be an evolving thing. But the one thing they're saying with consensus is, A, climate change is real, it's happening, man is participating, and B, we gotta fucking do something. We can't not do anything. We gotta do something, because even though we don't know exactly what the cost is going to be, we don't know exactly. We know that it's going to be significant, and the cost of doing nothing is way too severe, and a gamble we ain't going to take. Anyway, all right, so here's something kind of freaking cool. Scientists have discovered a sea of fresh water under the ocean. Under the sea. They went past Sebastian the Grumpy Crab. They went past Merman, the mermaid who was really pissed off that his daughter wanted to be a human. They went past SpongeBob's pineapple. They went past all of that. And they went straight into a freshwater pocket. Let's see what's going on here. Scientists, all right, so the margins are kind of fucked up there. Let's see. Look at that. That's the sea. Do you ever just, like, the ocean itself, just, and I know this is not doing it justice, but it isn't like, when you just think about the ocean, isn't it just mind-blowing? Like, isn't it just completely humbling that this body of water, and we don't know, like, there's still so much of it that we don't know. Like there's so much of it that we don't even have a clue what is down there. We don't have a clue, like we've only touched a certain percentage of it, and we're still discovering things. We've discovered something right now. We discovered fresh water pockets we didn't know about. So much of the ocean is completely untouched. And we're destroying it. Look at this big majestic thing. Let's put some fucking plastic up in there. Let's put some plastic up in there, see what happens. And, you know, I'm sorry I'm getting a little hippy-dippy right now, but I just came from the ocean. I was just in Cape Cod for a little while because my fiance is from there, so I was visiting her homeland with her, and it was my first time. I'd never been there before. It was my first time, and it was an incredible experience. Beautiful up there. If you ever get the chance, definitely go. And just whenever I just go to the ocean, and I don't get to the ocean as much as I need to. I really don't. I live in Pasadena, which is a little far. It's still accessible, and me and my fiance do make an effort to get to have beach days as often as we can. But anyway, just the existence of the ocean, it blows my mind. Like whenever, you know, it's so soothing. There are so many studies out there that it's so good for people's emotional and physical health. Like swimming in the ocean is very healthy. And it just, what it does to your psyche. I don't understand people that don't like the ocean. I understand some people don't. And some people, they're like, well, the sun is brutal. I burn easily. Look at me. Look, you think I don't burn easily? Look at me. I still love it. I'm just careful. I wear hats. I use umbrellas. Like, I'm careful. I time myself. I use sunscreen. All right, so anyway. There's the ocean. Huh? Look, it's not doing it justice. All right, so thousands of years ago, glaciers covered much of the planet. I remember this from 7th grade science class. I didn't appreciate it as much then. So oceans receded as water froze in massive sheets of ice blanketing the North American continent, and then as the Ice Age ended, the glaciers melted. All right? So the oceans rose, fresh water was trapped in sediments below the waves. Discovered while drilling for oil offshore in the 1970s. Great. It's good to know that that's what we were doing. Scientists thought those isolated pockets of fresh water were a curiosity. They may instead prove to be a parched world's newest source of fresh water. So, by measuring the way electromagnetic waves traveled through fresh and saline water, researchers mapped out freshwater reservoirs for the first time. It turns out the subterranean pools stretch for at least 50 miles off the U.S. Atlantic coast, containing vast shores of low salinity groundwater, about twice the volume of Lake Ontario. Wow! So these deposits begin about 600 feet below the seafloor and stretch for hundreds of miles. That rivals the size of even the largest terrestrial aquifers. So look at this. Here's what it looks like. Okay, so this is Martha's Vineyard. This is Jersey. This is Atlantic City. Speaking of Springsteen, put your makeup on, fix your hair up pretty. Meet me tonight in Atlantic City. And this is the freshwater pocket that they were able to measure. So it is even more than Lake Ontario, stretches for hundreds of miles. We have all this fresh water. And I bet people are wondering, how can we privatize this? How can we privatize this? Somebody tweeted at me, they're like, I bet they're going to wonder how Nestle can sell this and make money off of it. And yeah, that's probably the case. But, you know, this is just one of those things. If we can find this stuff, if we can map this stuff out, and there's still all these amazing things about the ocean that we're still discovering, we can't fucking renew, like we can't reinvigorate the way we do things and be more sustainable with our energy. We can't get off of fossil fuels. Of course we can do all these things. We can do all these things. We can get off fossil fuels. We can invest in solar and wind. We can completely reinvigorate the way we do infrastructure, the way we do transportation. We can do it. And you know what comes with all this? Jobs. Sustainable fucking jobs. That's why, you're going to hear from Andrew Yang tonight. That's why a jobs guarantee, a universal jobs guarantee, is better than a UBI. Because we do have the demand for it. We have the demand for infrastructure, for a Green New Deal, for green energy. And it would come with many jobs. So isn't that amazing? We just discovered all this fresh water. We didn't even know it was there. 600 feet below. They found it. There's speculation out there that we might have had more significant aquacultures. Meaning there's speculation out there. They found certain tools. And this was recent. This was only about 10 years ago. They found some tools that indicated that people may have been pretty much living on the water. Like, they might have been pretty much living, like, in the water, basically. Maybe to stay cool, and they might have built, like sustainable housing on the water. They had more of an aquaculture than we realized. And some people are speculating as time went on, that's where the myth of the mermaid came from. The myth of the mermaid came from there were actually some civilizations of people kind of living like that. In a way. I'm sure they weren't actually under the water or whatever. I mean, obviously, we don't know of any humans that were able to survive without oxygen. But, that's incredible. Amos brings up Atlantis. So let me see what you guys are saying. Let's chat it up, and then we're going to dismount for today. We started a little early because I have to end a little early. Under the sea. My fiance's dream, says Chris, my fiance's dream is to see the ocean. She grew up kind of poor, and her mom died before she got to see it. And my fiance wants to see it for her mom. Aw. Jeez, man, that's kind of sad, and I really hope you get her there. I think you guys should go and really make it a priority. It's totally worth it. Yeah, I know, Chris, you're out in Indiana, and when I went to Indiana for college, it was sort of, I grew up in Pittsburgh, which is also very landlocked, but not crazy far from the ocean. Like, we could drive there, and we would go to the beach. My parents loved the beach, and that probably is what made me love the beach. So we would go to the Jersey Shore a lot. We would go to Wildwood a lot as a kid. We would go to Florida. We'd usually fly if we went to Florida, but we could drive to Virginia Beach. So yeah, Indiana's like way far from the ocean. And when I went to college there, I realized that, and I met a lot of people that had never been to the ocean before, and I was like, you gotta freaking go. But well, Chris, I really hope you get there. And I know it's not an easy trip from where you're at, but I really hope you get there, and I hope you get there. Make it a priority this summer, man. Make it a priority. Be like, we are gonna go this summer, and just do it. Just do it. Sometimes you have to just say, I'm doing it. So yeah, I wish you all the luck in the world with that. Let's see. Sky at night in the ocean is awesome. Yeah, it is. No light pollution at all was the best part of being in the Navy. That's really cool. Has Ron jumped in freezing water as part of the polar bear ritual? I don't think I've ever jumped in freezing cold water. I've jumped in some pretty cold water. I mean, I've jumped in the Puget Sound like right when summer started. So it was probably about 45 degrees in that water. I jumped out pretty quick. So, yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you count that, I have. I don't know. Let's see here. Balthazar, I'm in Cape Cod right now. That's freaking awesome. I miss it. I had so much fun up there. I did miss this show too, though. But my fiance and I are actually talking about trying to summer in Cape Cod. And there's a thing where you can actually trade apartments with people. I don't know. I haven't really looked into it a whole lot. But I know there's a program out there, like there's a website where you can actually trade apartments with people. And we were kind of looking into it. We were like, well, what if we just like traded our apartment? Because then you get to live for free. So basically it's just like, okay, I'm going to live somewhere for a few months. And for me, I would just do all of my East Coast touring like while we're there. So for me, it's actually pretty easy. For her, she has a job, like a regular day job. So it's not easy for her. But for me, it's kind of easy. I could just do all of my East Coast touring while we're staying out there. And then I could just stream from, wherever it is we're staying. And that would be like what I do. So for me, it'd be easy. For her, it would not be easy. But anyway, yeah, I love it out there. It's really cool. I don't like the beach, but we'll do it for my fiance. Chris, what don't you like? I don't understand it. No, I don't. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get why people don't like the beach. It's just so majestic. So was it the car ride? Was that what killed it for you? Was it that? Maybe that's what it was. Let me know. I'm curious. Was it? I know some people are bothered by sand. I get that. I'm not judging you non-beach fans. I'm not coming down on you. I'm just saying. I don't see how the ocean is just so majestic. There are rocky coasts as well. Frederick points out. Garden Gnome gives a shout out to lakes, and Lake Superior. I've been to Lake Michigan a couple times for sure, and I've swum at it from different areas. But Superior, I don't know if I've ever swam in Superior. I don't think I have actually. Balthazar, not a fan of sand. I freaking love sand. I love sand to the point where when I take a beach trip and it gets in my car, I actually like it. I really dig it. Chris, it's too hot. I have heat intolerance as a health condition. Also, my conservative family and asshole siblings made Florida awful. Right on. Well, hey, maybe take a walk as the sun's going down. It's not as hot then. You can watch the sunset. It's really beautiful. Maybe that's your thing. But I appreciate you being willing to tolerate it for your fiance. That's really cool of you. Jilly says, the ocean remembers your connection to nature. Yeah. What's wrong with sand? Anthony, I'm pro sand. I'm with you. I love it. I mean, I guess some people, like, they find it kind of messy or whatever, but I dig it. I actually, this is kind of gross, but even when it's like on my sheets, I kind of feel like good. You know, like I'm like, fuck yeah. Like if I get a little sand, like maybe there was a little bit of sand, like it probably came out of my ear actually. Like you get, like when you swim in the ocean, you do get a little bit of sand deposits in your ears that kind of stay there for a minute and then eventually they fall out or whatever. But yeah, anyway. I don't think I've ever had proper draining, by the way, as far as I was thinking about that the other day. You know, my one of my fiance's sisters is a nurse, and I am guilty of being that guy where, like, when I meet a nurse, I usually ask them some ridiculous question. I'm not proud of it. I get it. That's the equivalent of someone coming up to me and being like, tell me a joke. I get it. I'm sorry. But I do it. I'm guilty of it. And I asked her, I was just like, do you know auditory stuff? Do you do anything there? She's like, no, I don't. I was like, I don't think I've ever had proper drainage. And she was like, don't you want me to like you? You're marrying my sister. Don't you want my approval? And you're bringing up this bullshit. Well, we're just trying to have a nice dinner. And I'm like, I'm trying to make a point of reference. I thought maybe you would find this interesting. You know, but I don't think I've ever had. My hearing's not the greatest. And if you met me recently, you know that for a fact. Because sometimes people will say their name to me, you know, like at the meet and greet after our shows, which we do after every show, by the way. If you're planning on coming out to a show, please do. You know, they'll say their name to me. I will repeat the wrong name back to them. It's not, I'm listening. My hearing sucks. Like, they'll be like, Joe, and I'll be like, John, how are you? Like, I just fucking, then they'll repeat it louder, and I'll be like, oh, shit, I totally heard John. Anyway, yeah. So, speaking of which, that gives us a nice transition as we're running out of time. Tour dates! We got them. Progressive Comedy Tour. Where are we coming to? July 27th. We're coming to Vegas, baby. Don't wait. Get your tickets now. Vegas will be the second spot that we hit twice on the Progressive Comedy Tour. It's our second appearance in Vegas. The first one was amazing. Help us have an amazing second one. RonPlacone.com for those tickets. September 5th, just announced, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Tickets available now. You can get them at RonPlacone.com. September 6th, Madison, Wisconsin. September 7th, Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's a Saturday night in Minneapolis, one of my favorite cities in the world. You can get tickets for all those shows at RonPlacone.com. September 8th, we'll be in Lincoln, Nebraska. Tickets will be available for that soon. Yeah. All right. If you want to support this show on the sustainability end, please do consider becoming a patron. Patreon.com/RonPlacone. For a give what you can level, you get all kinds of exclusive content, including my album, and you get everything for a pay what you can level. And you help me expand this show. I gotta expand my equipment. I gotta get new and better equipment. I gotta up my internet. I actually made an appointment. I'm upping my internet here to try to make that better. I'm also, another thing I'm doing, I want to have more guests. Tomorrow, Shahid Buttar is going to be on the show. He is trying to primary Nancy Pelosi. Shahid Buttar, he's going to be on the show. He's trying to primary Nancy Pelosi. We're going to be interviewing him. Apparently, he's a big music guy like me. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about net neutrality, too. That's going to happen at 12:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 a.m. Pacific Time. Tomorrow, right here on this channel. I want to do more of that stuff. I want to do more guests. I want to do more special streams. Last night, I streamed after the debate. I want to do more of that. So please help me get there. Patreon.com/RonPlacone if you are so able. And please do watch these videos, like and share, so make sure you're subscribed. When you watch these videos, have a separate window going where the ads just play through. And don't just do that for me. Do that for all the content creators you know and love, because that helps sustain our channels. All right. I got some super chats. Let me get back to them. Glad you're back. Thank you, Matt. I'm glad to be back. Tulsi needs to take the gloves off. I thought she did a pretty good job. But yeah, I wish she would have went a little harder too. Penyak Harper, thank you very much for the super chat contribution. We can only hope, Balthazar, just because I was disappointed with her performance, and I think you're referring to Tulsi here, doesn't mean that she wasn't one of the top people in that debate. Fair enough. Absolutely. There was a chance for a 3-sentence, no pandering, only policy answers no one took. Fair enough. Onesta says, we can only hope that Tulsi will accept the Green Party nomination in 2020. I don't know. I don't know if she would or not. I have no clue. Balthazar, thank you very much for the super chat contribution. There was such a chance to stand out by being clear, concise, policy-driven, and brief, and answering all questions. No pandering, no platitudes. I thought Tulsi did pretty fair in that regard. I mean, first of all, the first question she was given, she didn't want to just, take the question. She used that as an opportunity to give her opening statement. which I thought was very smart on her part strategically. She knew, or at least I'm sure she knew, that they were going to give her a very little amount of speaking time. Not the least amount, it turns out, which I was surprised by, but a very little amount of speaking time. She knew she was going to get a gotcha. All those things happen, and I'm sure she knew it and was prepared for it. So I was glad that she took that opportunity to say, no, I'm not just going to answer this softball question you threw at me. I'm going to hammer my opening statement. So I thought that was a good move on her part. Balthazar also, come to Moscow, Ron. Well, Balthazar, we will see. Maybe we will go to Moscow. Maybe we will not. Maybe I hope I see you there. We have some work to do. We have some work to do if we go to Moscow together. Notary, thank you very much for the Super Chat contribution. Notary says, yay, Ron. I gotta put that on a t-shirt. Yay, Ron. Guys, the second debates are tonight. I'm supposed to be streaming it with the Convo Couch and my Casa a Su Casa network, Nico House's network, and Lauren Steiner. But yeah, that's supposed to happen today. We're going to be doing that after the debates, but I'm not sure all the details because I think yesterday they got shut down. So I don't know if that's changing. I haven't checked in with anyone there yet, but I'm supposed to be doing that as an event in Los Angeles tonight. If I don't do that, I'll be streaming here after like I did last night. If I do that, check me out there. But either way, I'll be on something. Enjoy the debates tonight. Enjoy. Guys, thanks so much for being part of this. Shahid Buttar will be here tomorrow. We'll be chatting with him. It'll be a fun chat. And RonPlagone.com for all those tour dates. Patreon.com/RonPlagone if you are so able. I love you all very much. Thank you for another amazing Get Your News On with Ron week. We'll be back next week. We're going to be making some upgrades here. I know we've had some issues this week. It's a work in progress. I've been making some upgrades. I'm going to continue to. I got to get some stuff straightened away with the lighting and the camera and the stream itself. And I'm going to be working on that. So yeah, thank you all for your continued support. It means the world and then some. Have an amazing week. Have an amazing weekend. Have an amazing weekend. I'm going to see the original Misfits this weekend. I'm pretty fucking stoked. We'll be talking about that on Monday. But until then, stay safe in this crazy world of ours. You know the drill. Lucy's asleep over on the couch. She's been hanging out. She was hanging out all last night. She hung out right here, and she hung out yesterday on the stream too. But today, she's just chilling on the couch. She's like, yeah, I'm not. My contract doesn't warrant this many appearances. But anyway, you know the drill. Lucy says meow. I say peace. Which, by the way, if you want more Lucy, LucyandRon.com. Check out the webcomic for all your Lucy needs. LucyandRon.com. We're gonna have merchandise there soon. But anyway, Lucy says meow. I say peace. This is me, Get Your News On with Ron. Consider the news gotten. Doesn't even make sense. Peace.